Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna look at another project pen update. This is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette that I've been able to finally use up, which I'm very proud of. Since we're still in the first half of the year, it makes me really happy that I was able to finish my second palette for this year. So I'm gonna show you how she looks like. It's actually kind of beaten up at this point because I've used it a lot. So this is how she looks like. As you can see, there are two shades in the middle. Very early on I decided I'm not gonna count these shades. I'm not gonna use them because they're really ugly. They look really rusty on me, and I hate those two shades. So for the purpose of this video, I'm only counting 10 shades, and these two, we're gonna pretend that they don't exist. So first off, I'm gonna show you how many uses each shade had, how many uses I was able to get out of it, when did I hit ban on these shades, and then I'm gonna give you some kind of statistics and like roundup of this palette. I personally really like this palette. I bought it like 3 years ago. I definitely didn't bought it when it was like hyped up. I bought it later, but I think now it's like 3 years old or something like that. And I did notice that lately the mattes were really hard to use. They were really dry, really uncomfortable to wear, and they were kind of very sheer and dusty. Every single time I would dip my eyeshadow in one of these, it was so dusty, and there was so much mess. And the shimmers, they were really nice, but I feel like they were kind of also really like crumbling apart. So that was a little bit disappointing. And I actually completely used them up on my nails. The last time I used them was on my nails, kind of as a nail polish, because they weren't in a state where I could use them on my face anymore. And I wanted to finish it, so that's another thing to bear in mind. So I was able to create 254 looks with this palette, and when I count all of the uses of all of these shades, it was 1,403 uses combined. I used these shades a couple times. I think I used them like, I don't know, 15 times. I really tried to like them, but I didn't. And I didn't count those two shades in the number of looks or number of uses. So technically I got a little bit more uses out of this palette, but I didn't count these two at all, even though I did use them a couple times. When it comes to hitting pan, I think I'm gonna talk about each shades in the order that I've hit pan on them. So first shade that I hit pan on was the shade Drunk Dial, and that was because when I got my palette, it was slightly broken, and part of the shade was missing, and it was kind of like in pieces. So part of the shade was actually missing, and that's why I got to the pan so quickly. So I have hit pan on my 17 use, and overall this shade I was able to use it 122 times, which is actually quite a lot, but it's dark shade, so I wasn't using it all over my lid, but it was a very pretty shade. The next shade I've hit pan on was the shade Bang Bang, which was genuinely my favorite shimmer in this palette. It was such a nice like pinky shimmer with a little bit of like peachy goldy sparkles in it. It was so beautiful, and a lot of the times I would wear it all over my lid, in my inner corner, everywhere. Like, it was the shimmer shade of this palette. So I've hit pan on it after 52 uses, and overall I was able to use it 119 times, which is quite a bit considering I actually use it all over my lid majority of the times. Then the next shade was the shade Young Love, which was another beautiful shimmer. This one was so fun. It was a very berry color, kind of like dusty berry, very sparkly. It looked beautiful, especially with these mattes. It looked so pretty. I was able to, well, I've hit pan on it when I was on my 45th use, and overall I was able to use it 119 times as well. This one I feel like I had to layer a little bit more than the shade Bang Bang, so I've used it up, so even though I didn't use it on as big of a surface, I had to like use more of it, so that's why it's kind of the same number. Then the next shade was the shade Feels, that I absolutely love. It's such a nice like dusty pink shade. It was perfect for like the main crease color, and you could always deepen it up with something else. It was perfect shade and I love it, and I wish I still had this shade. So the shade Feels, I've hit pan on it when I was on my 60th use, and overall I was able to use it 151 times. Then there was the shade Bing, which was kind of like deeper version of the shade Feels. It was also matte. It was slightly more magenta, I would say. It wasn't like extremely neon-y or extremely vibrant, but it was a little bit more to the like raspberry color. When it comes to the shade Bing, I used it 76 times before I hit pan, and overall I used it 143 times. Then there was the shade Devilish, which was kind of a little bit more purpley version of that shade. So the pan was at 82 uses, and overall I used it 138 times. Then the next we have the shade Caution, which was exactly my skin tone, so I used it mostly to just like blend out the shades into my skin better, and also kind of erase some mistakes that I made, so I've just like covered up with this. It definitely, these two shades definitely didn't need it to be in that palette because they didn't show up on me, and I'm white, so I don't know who this would show up on. It's literally useless, these two shades, unless you want to like set your base with a powder, but honestly, A, I don't think that actually helps your eyeshadows, and B, you can use translucent powder for that, so these two just didn't make sense. But Caution, I needed 50 uses to hit pan, and overall I used it 113 times. Then we have the shade Privacy, which was the deepest shade. It was really nice, like very like deep dark blackened berry, and this took me 82 times to hit pan, and overall I used it 223 times. Then we have the shade Hotspot, which was the white shade, or like the translucent shade. I had to use it 79 times to hit pan, and overall I used it 159 times. And the last was the shade Juicy. I actually really cherished this shade because it was so beautiful. It was such a nice like peachy pink color. It was beautiful as blush. I actually used it more as blush than as an eyeshadow, because it was leaning a little bit too orange to pair with these dark shades. But sometimes I would use it on its own with the shade Bang Bang, as like they were really pretty together for that like one matte, one shimmer kind of look. And the shade Juicy, I've hit pan on it on my 64th use, and overall I used it 116 times, which I think is also because I used it on my face as well. So when you use it as a blush, it kind of you will use it up quicker. But I really liked that shade, and I wish I had it as a blush. It was such a pretty color, especially for the spring. It was very, very cute. So yeah, that's all for this palette. This palette I think cost roughly $49, and it has 13.2 grams, or if we're only gonna count the shades that I've been using, the 10 shades, then it's gonna be 11 grams because each shade has 1.1 gram. And if you want to know, the full price for each look was $0.19 because we have 254 looks for $49, so one look was less than 20 cents. Then if we're gonna use, if we're gonna count the price of one use of one shade, that would be $0.03. And if we would count how much you pay for each shade, then per gram, it would be $3.7 per gram, or if you would count that this only has 10 shades, the way that I've been using it, it would be $4.45 per gram of product. And obviously $4.9 for each of the shadows I've been using, so you know, $49 divided by 10, or if you would divide it by 12, then it would be, if you would count the whole palette, then it would be $4 and $4.08 per each shade. So it's definitely not that expensive if you kind of look at the overall statistics of this palette, but I don't think I would pay this money again, because I know I can get better palettes for better price, or I can get bigger palettes for similar price at other like indie brands, and they usually have colors that excite me more, and they also have better shimmers. But at the time that I bought this, I didn't know that there was that there were all these indie brands, and I probably wouldn't bought from them anyways, because I was focusing on the things that I can get where I live, and where I live there's pretty much only the mainstream brands, and then a couple brands that you get on Sephora. But even at Sephora, we don't have all the brands that are available in like American Sephora or something like that. So I can't get everything here, and I have to ship everything, or pretty much everything. So I definitely had to be a little bit more cautious about these things, and this was one of the more exciting brands at the time that had like colorful shadows. I think at that time maybe there was like Makeup Revolution, but they don't have good quality, and maybe Natasha Denona or like Anastasia Beverly Hills, but those were a lot more expensive. So to have something colorful that's still in a somewhat normal price range was pretty hard 3 years ago. Now it's definitely easier. I think even some of the Colourpop's collections are sold here, not all of them, but some of them. So there's definitely, and I feel like it's kind of sad, because I feel like the way the mattes work here and the way the shimmers look, I would compare it to Colourpop, and I think we all know that that's completely different price range. So as I say, I don't think it's worth spending this amount of money on this particular brand, because you can get better. But also, if you count it down and if you were to actually use it up, it's not that expensive. But you can get something cheaper. But you can get something cheaper for the same amount for the same quality. So that's it for this for this palette. I am so happy that I finished it. I can't wait to throw it away actually, because it was fun for a while, but now it was kind of annoying and I just really wanted to get rid of it, especially since I know that the shades didn't perform the way that I remember them performing. So yeah, I will keep it till the end of the year to have it for like the yearly project pen roundup that I want to do at the end of the year, but then it's gonna go right to the trash because I just really don't care for it at this point. If you want to see which palette am I currently panning, so far I've panned this and the Natasha Denona Mini Nude, and the next palette that I hope will be able to use up by the end of summer is this Alva 2 from Udensai. As you can see, I'm not very far away from that, so hopefully I will be able to get that out of my list as well soon. And yeah, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Hope you also have some kind of progress with your project pen in case you do something like that. And if you've never tried it, definitely would recommend. It's really, really fun and exciting to be able to finish something up, even if it's like foundation or I don't know, powder or something. It doesn't have to be a full eyeshadow palette, but it's really nice to be able to finish things up, and either you can get a replacement if you really liked it, or you can try something else and something new and have a little bit more space in your collection for more exciting things. So I hope this inspires you to try something like this. Let me know if you have this palette and if this was helpful to you, or if you have any other Urban Decay palettes, because I've had the Honey palette and the Cyber palette, but I've got rid of those because they just weren't really doing it for me, and I don't think I'm gonna buy another palette from them anytime soon. If they had really exciting launch, maybe, but I think ever since this I wasn't interested in any of their other releases all that much. The Cyber was kind of fun for a bit, but then I quickly fell out of that, so I really hope they're gonna release something interesting one day, but at this point I don't think that I would ever buy anything from them again. But definitely let me know what's your opinion on this brand. And I hope you have a great day, and I will be happy to see you in my next video. Bye!